Hello, 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 and welcome back to another trek through the dungeon. Mm. So, we've been doing this Minotaur Berserker video with a focus on playing well, playing correctly, and explaining uh, as much as possible the decision-making process that's going into these plays. If you've never won the game before, my hope is to help you win your first game with this. So, let's carry on. Where last we left off, we had done dungeon. No, not spellcasting. We had done dungeon already. We had done dungeon down to 15, I believe, was the last video. Yep. We did orc, and then just on a larf, we went ahead and did snake. So that's our first rune. People will generally describe snake, spider, shoals, and swamp as the S runes. Your game will always deal you two of them, and those will generally be what you do at this stage of the game after you've done lair, orc, and dungeon. So you'll probably go into one of these. The pressure is on you in theory to grab a rune. In practice, it's not mission critical. I would say it's perfectly okay to not grab both the runes. You only need one to be able to continue on to vaults. So if a branch end is challenging, avoid, dying. And Shoals is that for a melee character. Shoals is full of enemies that will pelt you from range with will-based attacks and make you suffer for not being able to deal with it. So how do we deal with it? Well, one, we can increase our will. We already are wearing a will ring. That's good. And I think we have a second one in our pocket, so we can flip AC to will when we need to. Second, do we have repulsion available to us? No. Sometimes you have a scarf of repulsion in a game, and that's really nice. Third is flight. You don't want to be caught down in the water. We have those things. So I think we have enough that we should dip our toe into shoals at least and see what comes of it. So here we go. I wish I could tell you my overarching strategy for Shoals, but if I'm being perfectly honest, Shoals is a branch that I don't feel has a good win strategy. It merely has basic tactics, which is try to hug walls, avoid getting surrounded, stay near your staircase. Oh, the exact opposite. Get shafted to a random floor below you. Alright, well, you guys are about to see how you survive a shafting. Yay. First lesson. Your whole goal of being shafted is to get yourself unshafted. Oh, heyo, welcome. Is it just me, or am I seeing a very blurry image? No, it's good. Okay. Your first goal of being shafted is to get yourself unshafted, which means we're looking for an up staircase. If you have scrolls of revelation to spare, use them. You're rarely going to get a better value at proposition than this. It seems like I'm getting some kind of intermittently sharp and then dull when I'm looking at my um screen. I suspect it has to do with my internets. All right, so first things first, look how far away the stairs are. We've got a long trip ahead of us. Our goal is going to be to get there. Probably walking through the middle or flying around to it is going to be hard, but doable. Man, it is actually rather consistently giving me this bad. Am I dropping packets? Give me 1 second. Let me look over here at my stream. No, my bitrate's good. Apologies, y'all. I don't know why it's doing that. Um, One possibility would be to try and make the shortest distance, right? The other would be to stick to the outside of the screen where only merfolk will find us and go all the way around since we can fly. I'm actually leaning towards that strategy. There are no oh, whoops, I didn't mean to take a step. There are no other red staircases that we can utilize. There are down staircases. We could take this nearby down staircase and try and come up again, but most likely we would end up in a bad position. And then we're adding an even deeper floor to our roster. So let's not do that. I think the best, safest plan for now is to go near that wall on the right and hug it. So that's where we're going to head. Draw enemies towards us to this wall. We now have 4 fawns that are limited by not being able to come in the water, an elementalist, and a couple merfolk coming at us. If we pop a scroll of poisoning, we could flood this whole screen with poison. They can't approach or walk, and we can walk right through it. That's a safe bet. Now, if there was ever a time to be liberal in your use of your resources, a shafting is that time. So we're going to do that exactly that. We're going to pop the poison and walk through it. Anyone dumb enough to walk into the poison after us is going to die. Except, of course, the elementalist. Him we're going to have to kill the old-fashioned way. Notice that already the crowd is thinned out quite nicely. We want to get to a position where we're not getting hit by rocks, and then we'll just beat this guy up real quick. And there we go. Now, you could argue that I could have just taken those 4 on, and that would have been a very reasonable approach as well. It's only because I've made up my mind to do this fly across the edge of the map strategy that I didn't do that. I'm intentionally limiting my vision of the shore so that I don't have to deal with shore enemies as much as possible. And realize I would never have attempted this strategy if I hadn't used Revelation and seen how far away the stairs was. I would probably have slowly eked my way out from here to here to here before eventually having basically cleared the entire floor. So we're going to go the long way. Now we'll make a turn up towards the beach. Very much going to charge him down. I don't want to get caught in the middle of nowhere with this spy. Then off we go. We made it back up. Now, going down is our safety. So we've got a reach attack here, a reach attack here, and a range attack there. Let's draw one of the reachers with us, take him downstairs, and quickly slaughter him. And try a different stair going up. We're at paralytic attack and a silencing attack. We're okay with these guys. We beat these guys up nicely. Reach attack's less fun. We'll pull you back downstairs, beat you, and come back. Now beat you upstairs. Okay. So, where was I? Oh, right. General strategy. Hugging walls is always a good approach. Limiting the number of angles at which you can be attacked is a good approach. Staying close to staircases, which are your safety, are a good approach. Try and use those, but realize that there is a lot more to hurt you here between forced movement, for people who aren't flying, getting knocked about into water and the like. Mesmerize, that's good. Yep, that's another one. Forced will attacks that will make you easier to hit, like Corona or Will over 2, and Mesmerize, which stops you from berserking and compels your movement. I think I win this fight, and I don't want them to come after me, so I'm going to step into the area here and beat them up. I got mesmerized. I cannot berserk. Fun fact, you can still berserk here by drinking a potion of berserk. So that's part of the reason I tend to like to keep 1 or 2 of those on hand for when my evocation of berserk is gone, but my gameplay expectation of needing to is still there. Of course, I don't need to right now. I can just beat them up. Drop all status effects. Notice, by the way, basic tactics 100%. Back up, back up, back up, heal, and then move forward. Hi, Letty Bear. Which tip was that? Sorry, I've given a lot of tips in the last 24 hours. Haha! You did it! Nicely done. Making it all the way to the lair is good times. With not strong character builds, I consider picking your first rune up to basically be winning the game. Anything beyond that is just a bonus. Well, that's good. The Minotaur Berserker tips that I'm sharing here are good. Uh, for a lot of different builds and styles and classes and archetypes. I just happen to also be playing a very overpowered character not overpowered, a powered character by playing a Minotaur Berserker. But I'm hoping that my approach is widely applicable rather than focusing on revenge horns or something. Speaking of which, okay, good. Training everything. That's what it needs to be. I actually should probably just turn axes back on too now. For the pittance of extra damage I get off of my axe skill. Alright, we have basically at this point cleared most of this floor, so now I'm going to get lazy and just auto-explore, recognizing I might end up in a bad situation as a result, but if you look at all of the staircases, I've already hugged them as much as I'm comfortable doing, so now I'm just forced to move out. And of course, the moment I see an enemy, retreat, beat him up. We do not engage out in the open. If we can avoid it, we retreat, make them come to us. Windrake. Just like with any trampling enemy, try to get a solid wall behind you so that he can't blow you away before beating him up. Because his ability can knock you back. Only one enemy at a time. These guys are ranged, so we'll have to go to them. Alright. Back. And now we just go ahead and win this thing. Same logic. I want to have something solid behind me so that he can't blow me away. And then we take him on. A tutorial teaching someone to play with a miniature berserker is the easiest way for someone to win, but but also playing miniature berserker can make someone develop bad habits. That's true, probably, because but I like to think of it as learning in stages, right? You first start off by learning how to deal with the game with no magic, no worrying about this defense and that, etc. Great question, Laddie Bear. When do you learn armor skill? My answer to that is always. My armor skill never went off this game, and it never will. A slow, steady amount of AC, more AC will only ever help my cause. AC is two things. One, the attacks that hit you have to roll against it, so you can just, not get damaged. And the other is that if you are hit, there is a guaranteed percentage of damage that is reduced by your armor. So training armor makes your armor more wearable so that spells can be more easily cast, encumbrance penalty affects you less, blah blah blah. So that's one reason to keep it, and when you're training armor for that reason, then you worry about how much and cutoffs. But when you're training it just as a defensive ability, I want that AC number as high as possible. So I'm just going to keep training it as much as possible. And that's what I'm doing. That being said, I don't dump points into it. I just trickle points into it the whole time. Much like fighting, which improves my HP pool, but I'm not focused training fighting. It's just one of the many, many things I'm doing. It's okay if it's not, you know, maxed out. It's whatever. Axes, on the other hand, you could make a very strong argument that I should stop training. It's costing me 18.7 skill points to improve it by 1 point, and turn that off. My attack power is only going to go up by like 5% for that point. So that's really not much. Not even that, because part of this comes from my fighting skill. So yeah, not ideal. I just talked myself out of it. Clown Piece is making a good point. So other skills that you will consider training on your Minotaur Berserker are throwing to improve the damage of your javelins, or whichever throwable, and evocations, at least up to 5, so that you can improve the power of your wands and your big ticket evocables. In my, because I'm specifically avoiding complex strategies in this video, I'm not going to go into those details because this is just the simplest, narrowest way to play. That being said, very strong abilities. You can beat an orb of fire by hucking rocks at it if you're well enough trained and you use big rocks. Alright, come to me, my monsters. We'll beat you up. We're just gonna O-tab the rest of this floor. It's pretty much cleared. Ooh, a kraken! A thing about krakens. By the time you see them, you are probably already strong enough to beat them, because every time you hit a tentacle, you damage the center. So me cleaving 3 tentacles at once is 3 hits at a time against the same HP pool. He dies fast. Let's do another one. That's 4 hits at once. 4 hits at once. Yeah, he dies very fast. They look very deadly, but they really aren't. All right, floor clear. Next floor, please. Since we revealed this floor, we could. Oh, we got a question. Does learning dodge skill very crucial? Good question. No. Dodge is one of the. I consider there to be three defensive skills, four defensive skills: fighting, armor, dodge, and shield. When you're playing a character that shouldn't be learning bad habits like the Minotaur, you probably have zero aptitudes or even -1 aptitudes, right? So if you have negative aptitudes, you can't afford to train all of them at once, and you certainly can't afford to put too much EXP into any one or two, right? So you've mentioned gargoyle. Let's take a look at gargoyle real quick. Quick pause and detour. I think I have a gargoyle brewing in this version. I do. Okay, let's take a look here. So this is a gargoyle mage that I'm working on. My mage does not wear heavy armor. I think he's in leather. And that's why I trained leather just enough to drop the penalty. Even though there's a -2 aptitude, I'm still trickling into my defensive abilities. But these were off the entire game until these numbers were high enough that I could win with my fighting, with my magics. Once my magics were at a very solidly castable level, then I was more comfortable saying, okay, let me turn these defensive skills back on. Well, sometimes, nay, often, the best defense is murdering the thing that's trying to kill you. But don't neglect your defenses because an evade. Sorry, let's say that my HP is 100 and I have 0 evade. That's so much less valuable than my HP being 80 but my evade being 12 because that's probably two attacks I just don't have to get hit by, right? If you want to see how good evade is in this game, look at my Felid Berserker video. I think it's on my YouTube channel on my under the live tab because I was live streaming, and you'll see that I basically dodge the vast majority of attacks coming at me, the vast majority of the time. So I would definitely always leave on one defense skill, whether it's fighting, armor, evade, whatever makes sense for your character. uh, Alongside whatever you're doing for offense. Again, we're just hugging the wall, making sure that we have plenty of places like this that we can hide ourselves to recover in instead of getting caught out in the middle like auto travel is doing to be. Auto travel is a hard habit to break. And again, you don't have to not auto travel. You're allowed to like auto travel around. At this much power, let's say that I come across something absolutely deadly, I can just blink away and then teleport and then fog, right? Like I can survive my auto travel mistakes. It's only because I'm trying to teach good habits that I'm not doing it. All right. Let's take a look at the store. Sure, I'll take an 18th teleport scroll. No, I'm kidding. At this point, there's no point taking that. I'll take an extra butterflies. Butterflies is great. Butterflies could save my life one day. Ooh, Trog gifted me a weapon and it didn't fall in the water. And it's... Oh, baby. It's a beaut. It's a beautiful weapon. Uh, it might actually be the best weapon I've got by a lot. um, we need to lose something in order to make room for it in our thing. It's gonna be torment for sure. We now have okay. We're currently using a 42 base damage, 11 bonus damage weapon, right? This bad boy, which attacks just as fast as 45 damage plus 11, anti-magic with double necro resist. Ordinarily, I don't love the anti-magic brand unless I'm specifically trying to deal with a mage. So I would stick with, say, flaming and then switch over to it. But this being a broad axe as well is a very big factor. Wait, do I resist poison natively? Have I lost any other resistances by switching? I have not. Okay, good. So we're good. Carry on with the auto exploration and next floor. What I'm looking for here is which staircase can I descend on that gives me the best retreat. This staircase gives me the best retreat, so I'm taking this one. You're dead. Ooh, acquirements. We love acquirements. What do we got? Uh, there is no obvious correct answer on this screen. My instinct, though, is to take the hat. because the hat will help all my weapons, and a +6 broad axe is nice but not necessary. Not now that I have a +8. So looking at my current hat, which does not in fact exist, yeah, I guess it is an obvious correct answer. And you all seem to have reached the correct answer. Yay! You passed the test. No, joking aside, I think that it's pretty clear that that's correct. So yeah, we'll do this. They call this the hat of ruse envy. I don't know if I'd go as far as to say a living deity would be envious of this wand, but if there were to be a wand a deity would be envious, sorry, a hat a deity would be envious of, it would look something like this. So auto travel took us very far afield, and I'm sorry, I should be teaching. So let's go back and triple dip this floor. Now we know where all the downstairs are. We clearly want to stay towards this north area so that we have a safety retreat. We want to hug walls to limit line of sight, because if we go out like this, we're getting attacked in all directions. If we're here, at least the southern direction we're not being attacked in. Come back to me, knock you out, shout a couple times, see if anybody else wants to come by. No? Okay. Only when I have to venture away from my safety do I do so. I'm gonna throw a poison dart to get the advantage on you if possible, but nope. I sometimes just throw things to let enemies know to come at me. So I have found shoals to be exceedingly deadly in the bottom floor, to the point that when I'm speed running the game, I try to tell myself to play extra slow on Shoals 4. Uh, but yes, the better loot tends to be waiting there, and the fact that we found an acquirement without going there and gotten god gifts, it's a good sign for us. This run somebody up above kind of likes. All right, we see a Cyclops and a Dream Sheep. We are hiding here until they come to us. Hiding here till they come to us. Hiding here till they come to us. And look at that. 0 turns of being attacked. Butcher gone. If we had gone out to here, we would be facing 4 sheep and getting hucked with rocks, possibly falling asleep and getting surrounded. This way, they come to us. Even though we fell asleep, no big deal. Just 1 sheep bite. This is the power of basic tactics. Limit how many things are attacking you. Back off, retreat towards what is known, etc., etc. Stay near staircases, stay near your safety. And your safety is in order: the space you've already explored, the staircase you can jump to. Or the staircase first, and what you've already explored. Come on, all you mermaids saw me and none of you came after me? You guys are the least area likes. No. Just no. We are not going down to Ringmail. Sorry guys, I was playing my mage not too long ago, so just forgetting that ringmail is not the highest tier armor I can wear. Okay, just auto explore and finish up, and of course, gets me surrounded. If you do not have flying, oh wow. Rewind. I have flying. If you don't have flying when you're doing the shoals, actually, let me check this door real quick, and then we'll get back to it. My gloves are generic. My resist electricity comes from a ring, so I will in fact buy this so that I'm not ring dependent for resist electricity. Normally, you don't have this much luxury in choosing your protections. Oh wait, it wasn't a ring? It wasn't a ring? Then what was it? Uh, oh, it's the armor. Well, then I don't need to worry. I guess technically now I can switch out my armor, but I really do like this armor. All right, we're just gonna go back to the top. Let's imagine you've entered Shoals and you don't fly. Looking around, you can see just visually how much narrower your path to safety is, and how few places you have that you can walk with ease. This is okay. This is not the worst thing that can happen to you. What you need to do is realize that standing in water and fighting is dangerous, and the enemies you're facing can force you to move by mesmerizing you forward, by fearing you away, by blowing you with their wings. So, what you're going to want to do as you explore a level is obviously stick to what you have, right? Remember that if you have a potion of enlightenment and you're about to be in a pitched battle, just drink it and fly for a little while, right? And then the moment you find a staircase down, right? Make a nice little circle around it so that you're sure that the whole area is more or less secure for you to come back upstairs to, and then dive. Now, notice how much of the level you've cut off and ignored that way. But you are in a hostile environment without the ability, you're in hard terrain without the ability to deal with the terrain. Why would you full clear that level? It's a bad call. Dive and just keep moving. And sometimes you'll find that you have to explore a lot of the island in order to find the downstairs. But other times, like this time, just a little walking, I found it. I've probably had to kill 4 mermaids, 2 elementalists, and a cyclops or something on this much space. But then I'm down. If you do not fly, do not stay here. Come here and get out. It's not worth full exploring. Not until it is the easiest experience or loot. Then you come back and get it, right? Always go for the easiest and lowest hanging fruit until that bores you to death. Then, be greedy. Let's go and see what this is. Bog bodies, I think, are cold attacks. I resist cold, so I'm not too worried. Beat you up. I love that I'm saying I'm not too worried, and I'm still acting like they are lethal one-shotters, and I'm doing everything in my power to hide and only take one hit at a time. But it's the correct way to play. Maybe not the fastest, and it's not score optimal, but it is. If you've never won the game, this is what you do to get your first win. I'm not worried about you guys. Nice tight little environment. All right, auto explore floor. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! Why are you purple? Do you have a net or something? Yep, you got nets. That's fine. I don't like this position, and I may have to teleport out of it, but we'll see what happens. Now I don't mind this position. Now I'm quite happy with this position. All right, Shoals 4, final floor. Remember what we've said about every branch end. Branch ends are intentionally deadly. Be ready to die. Sorry, be ready to fight the moment you go down. This isn't so bad. We'll kill the reaching turtle, and then we'll get back. This is an unusual branch end, unfortunately. Normally, okay, how do I do this without... I guess we can pull up MS Paint. Okay, normally, the branch end for Shoals looks something like this. You got water everywhere, right? And then you've got little islands, little pockets splattered around like so, right? With paths connecting them. Can't figure out new paint to save my life. Sometimes connected together, sometimes more disconnected, and at total random in one of these, you're going to have the rune. Each of these islands is going to have a tight boxed structure, typically with a door, inside of which is going to be a big attack, a small piece of loot, and sometimes that loot is the rune. Also, there's no guarantee that you don't face Ilsuyu, a very strong, mesmerizing mermaid, and a retinue of equal mer people, and lots of stabby trident and javelin hookers. If ever there was a floor that you can find yourself suddenly surrounded and dying on, this is it. This particular layout, though, seems like a giant box, which is all connected, so it's a little different. But our strategy will be the exact same. Act like every corner is death, stay as close to the door as you can, and try not to fight too many things at once. So next floor, please. I can take those two on, but I don't know what's around the corner. But these guys can throw thorns and and mesmerize me, so I am obligated to charge them down. Lucky for me, nothing went wrong. Oh, yes, sorry, thank you. Full screen. So now just those two openings should have given us a pretty clear view that we have a giant square here with these little pockets throughout. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, and beat you up. If I didn't have flight, I would have had to stand here because I want to be on solid ground when I attack. Always trying to limit the number of enemies I'm fighting at once. Anybody else coming? Nope. All right. So that looks like the greeting party that we were afraid of. We do not want to get mesmerized, so we're going to back away as much as possible. I think now is a good time to stand and fight, because we're not going to make it all the way back to the stairs without being attacked half dozen times, and these further back enemies coming out. So we are going to want to win this fight, probably here. I'm going to pause and let everybody think about what I'm going to do to make this fight win. Yeah, they get better dodging, I think, but it's not a massive buff. It's just a moderate buff. Okay, so what is the particular thing that I want to do right here, right now, to tilt this fight in my favor before I start doing it? There are a couple answers, but there's one that I'm particularly. Trog's Will is a good answer. I do not want to get mesmerized. I don't want to get corona'd or paralyzed. I'm pretty sure the paralyzed can happen either way because that's an on-hit ability. But frankly, just thinking like a troglodyte, basic strategy, you always want to be regenerating in a hard situation. But the other answer is this is a time for Brother in Arms. I want to be side by side fighting with the troll that's going to rip these guys up with me. We'll both share the hits. We know for a fact that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, actually, these guys are these guys. So probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-ish enemies, give or take. And we don't know how many more. So starting with Brother, moving on to Trogs, and we are just going to decimate this fight. And that's okay. It's okay that we're a little overkill here. All we lost is piety and possibly an axe gift. But what we gained was if there had been a bunch more enemies around the corner, we wouldn't have been haste berserked out in the middle of nowhere. See what I mean when I say my ally and R are just dispatching everything? If all of these enemies were able to focus fire on just me, I would not be able to take them out this easily. But together, we overcame that entire area with ease. All right, going back to making sure my beachhead is as safe as possible. Same problem as before. Beat you up around the corner, beat you up around the corner. We got mesmerized, so we have to beat him up where he stands. All right, tiptoeing is going well. Where's the third descent? I kind of like this layout. This layout is actually unusually good for a non-flyer. Uh, because it gives us a land connection to fight on the whole way through. Peeking around the corner. Notice how I didn't walk any further, just enough to make them come to me, and then I'll back off. Make them turn that corner, and then suddenly they have to deal with a frickin' Hulk Minotaur. You see me, right? Let me just make sure. Now you see me, right? All right, come. Health goes up to 169. This is what happens when I get greedy and I don't back up. Let's not do that. Oh, we got feared. He's saying, please retreat to a strong tactical position. I say, if you insist. From this position, I can easily use a blink scroll to get here or here and then immediately hit the exit. So, good spot. You guys know I'm here, so why don't you just come around the corner so I can butcher you? Alright, there we go. Chamber decompressed. Oh, for the love of Pete, you're doomed. And this chamber has been decompressed. Let's keep attracting things towards us. I don't mind that this is slow and pedantic. It's methodical and safe. Oh yeah, I don't need generic gloves, and I will happily carry a heavy broadaxe. Heavy broadaxe is still probably going to be a very good late game weapon for killing enemies that have high AC. Uh, we can still use poison here, poison cloud, the scroll, to freeze the board as it is and give us a safe retreat if that's what we need. Because poison vulnerable, poison vulnerable, poison vulnerable, I'm not sure about that one. Instead, though, we are just going to retreat. We have full health. There's no reason to act like we're already dying. Hide around the corner, make them come to us, and knock them out. Reach weapon is forcing me to come forward. That's fine. There we go. Do it again and again and again. Just keep making them come to us. Keep making them come to us. Keep making them come to us. That's how we're gonna win this. Uh, Questions anyone about this floor and what we're doing with it? I feel like it's pretty clear we're working our way towards the center. We're trying to be as gentle as possible in our approach instead of rushing through. We see the Rune of Zot. Oh, there it is. Sweet. So we've already made it. Nice. Even if we didn't have all these resistances. Oh crap, what just happened? There are some extremely strong enemies that showed up here. So, yeah, you could make the argument that I should actually continue to decompress fully from the outside. I think the reason I didn't is instinctively I'm trying to hug the staircases. But yeah, no, considering the enemies can spill out in any direction, and now we know that, that would have been the stronger tactic. To stick to the outside walls so that we pull off this group, pull off this group, pull off this group before going for the main course. I definitely want to increase my will here because I know at least two of those guys are mesmerizers. Let's get around the corner and make them come to me and charge them down only when I've got as good as an odds I can get. This is a good time for an ally of Trog. I'm gonna try to do this without calling for help because I do want the EXP, but I'm recognizing that I might have to lose my heal wounds if I overestimated my power. Well, lucky for me, I didn't have to use anything else. Just a little bit of EXP. That is a nice piece of plate, and that is a very nice jewelry. Normally you're lucky to get one or two usable sources of resist electricity in a game. The fact that this game is showering me with them is kind of unusual, to say the least. I will take Guardian Spirit. No, I won't. The pros of taking Guardian Spirit Amulet are the Slay +2 and the 8 HP equivalent it gives me. The cons are that I can't walk away as easily. I think I just talked myself into it. We'll wear this. 2 slaying is nice. We could take that plate armor. Now that we don't need resist electricity on our armor, but I think our armor gives us regen, right? Yeah, ours gives us regen. We just like regen. It's better than strength +2. We And we do have resist necro already, so we don't need the resistance. Yeah, we're good. In we go. Oh, a manual of fighting. Our run just became much better. We're going to have so much HP when this run is over. It's going to be disgusting. Let's go get the rune and get out of here. If I was starved for loot and not happy with my position, I might consider sticking around and full clearing this floor. But since I'm not, I could also very reasonably decide this floor is more trouble than it's worth. I'd rather just leave. I think since we did make the more aggressive play coming through the middle, we're safe to just mash through now, though. So let's just mash through. Anything dangerous we already killed in the middle. Ignore enlightenment potions. We always fly. O-tab, O-tab, O-tab. Knockout, knockout. O-tab, O-tab. Oh, we got ourselves a bad spot here. But I'm comfortable that I can Berserk and end the fight, or at the very least Berserk and walk into the teleport trap. So, good enough for now. This vault is designed with these walls solid, so actually clearing these outsides would not have reduced the damage of the middle of the screen onslaught. I didn't realize that. We good here? I think we're good. Is there any loot to be had, or am I just killing things for the EXP at this point? Oh boy. We can't use words in this condition, so we just quickly kill the one who's engulfing us, and then we charge in there and kill the rest of them. This is a do not do what I'm doing, do what I'm telling you, but not what I'm actually doing situation. You're not supposed to walk into the middle of that when you're trying to not lose. All right, Shoals cleared. We are out. Congratulations and huzzah. Technically speaking, at this point, we could cut the video right here, and it would be very reasonable to do so. Um, I think it's worth pointing out our next direction of play. We're probably gonna head to uh, did I bring the orb of Zot? No. What orb of Zot? Oh, that's just an orb of light. That's just a thing you can equip. Um, so yeah, our next direction of play is going to be the Volts. Vaults is usually the third rune for a melee brute. You could do slime under some circumstances, but if you're in a position where you haven't won the game yet, this isn't that circumstance. Oh, sorry, that's the rune. Yes, we grabbed the rune, and it was so anticlimactic I didn't even pause to mention we'd grabbed it. I think I may have made mention that we can like technically walk out at this point, but we didn't. So, yar. Brain and brain. What is brain? Part of my body for cooling the blood, no doubt. These facts have not been vetted by a doctor. Right, brain. Okay. Do we do vaults or don't we? I guess we may as well do vaults. I feel like segregating this video makes sense. I also feel like it's not a big enough deal. Here, let's see if I can do this and change the title of the video to part 5. No idea what that's gonna do, but knowing my luck, I just deleted the last video. God, I hope I didn't. But it is now officially MiBe tutorial number 5. Let's go to the vaults, people. Woo! Auto travel into the vaults. By the way, in case you don't know the hotkeys, capital G pulls up the travel menu. Oh, thanks for the heads up. Okay, so let's take a look. We've got a whole floor ahead of us. Things you need to know about the vaults. Actually, this is a good time to pause and do the teachies, right? Um, Vaults are home to a very specific set of enemies you need to be aware of. Vault guards. Not actually the vault guard that I'm looking for though. The vault warden. Is that searchable? Will I pull him up this way? Yes. There's a set of 4 of these humanoid vaulters that each can do something nasty. Vault Warden can lock doors, at which point you cannot escape until you've beaten him. Vault that's the guy. Vault Sentinel is the other one that you need to be intimately aware of. The Vault Sentinel will attempt to make a will-based attack against you that will mark you. When marked, everyone on the floor knows where you are and will tend to dogpile your position immediately. Think how many goddamn times I've said during this video it's important to try to go 1v1, blah 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 blah. So allowing the whole floor to dogpile on you is a really bad idea. Vault Convoker has the ability to teleport. Is that Convoker? Is that what it's called? Ironbound Convoker, maybe? Ironbound Convoker, Yellow Cloak. He can make a bunch of enemies come around to the same position. So if you notice him warming up and you can't easily kill him, be ready to fight 9 enemies at once. These are not as bad as it may seem to be. These are not the end of the world. These are not game losing situations. You can easily win these things. I'm just letting you know that these are the more challenging enemies that make up the vaults. Other than that, there's a whole lot of ranged attack that you're going to deal with. So if you have a shield, if you have reflect, this is a nice time for it, but it's not required. The only thing that is required is, say it with me now, good basic tactics. So stay near your staircase, hug the wall. I'm actually going to do something a little unorthodox. I'm going to go down a floor to make sure that this is also a safe retreat spot. So we just revealed 3 ranged attackers, a guy who can lock stairs and doors, and a guy who can summon new enemies. We should have no problem beating them all up in melee. So let's make them come to us. Oh, hello, sir. Meet my axe. Meet my axe. All of you meet my axe. That wasn't too challenging, was it? But it would have been challenging if I had let them shoot at me for 1, 2, 3 turns, and then had this guy summon God knows what. So now while I'm attacking them, I'm dealing with his summons. But by making them come to me, basic tactics, no fight at all. Nothing to even be a little nervous about. Alright, we now have a safe beachhead and a safe way to descend. Tiptoe, 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 tiptoe. Okay, so we found the lower corner of the map. Since we know enemies don't spawn in space that we've already been, this whole area is now a pretty safe beachhead, and we're going to explore outwards from here. If in this situation I was threatened and I had the opportunity to use a teleport scroll, I would think very, very hard before doing so, because a random teleport is going to land me somewhere here more often than not, and that space is just more dangerous than most threats that I would be teleporting away from. Now, if I was teleporting away from Menus, for example, maybe it's still correct. I mean, it's not because I'm a melee character, but... Alright, let's pull you guys all the way back here so you don't alert anyone while I butcher you. I don't know what an Arcanist does. I mean, I do, but let's go ahead and take a look and find out together. Oh, I see he has these abilities. One pushes me, one of them freezes me. I don't know what Vitrify is. I mean, I actually do, but let's say I didn't. Oh, makes me fragile as glass and increases all source damage. Okay, it looks like it tests will, and he's basically not going to hit me with it because it's 11%. So as long as he's alone, I should be fine. Oh, he made good on the 11% chance. Noted. Hiding behind the corner and beat him to death. Let fragile pass. So kind of analyzing what he could do like that. If you don't know your enemies as well as I do, and especially the later you get in the game, the more this will happen, right? Because by definition, you've been to the late game less often. You know things less well. Just pause and look it up. This game is turn-based. You have no excuse for not looking things up, especially when all the information you need is in the game with you. Poke our nose in here. Why don't you come after me? This is the guy who can heal local enemies. So because he can heal the local enemies, you might think, oh, let me go after him first, right? But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to continue to butcher the position I'm in because he's the damage dealer. If he then comes out, if he walks into a position that I can cleave, I'll be very happy. Okay. There is another side benefit that I've been ignoring, but I think Clown mentioned it earlier. This is an anti-magic axe. At this stage of the game, you are not likely to have your best weapon conveniently also be anti-magic. But since we are, I'm definitely leveraging that. An anti-magic weapon has the effect that whenever you land a blow on an enemy, that enemy's magical power or MP is taken away or their spells are sealed. So using it on these casters, 1 or 2 hits is enough to make it that they can't cast. That's just amazing. Alright. This is where impatient me wants so badly to auto travel the whole floor. And honestly, with the amount of power I have right now, I should be able to do that without. Oh! Pause, 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 pause. This guy. This guy casts Creeping Frost. Creeping Frost is an ice. I want to say it's pure ice, but it might be ice and electric. Nope, pure ice damage attack that comes on all walls. So you know how much I've been retreating into one tile wide hallways to fight things? This guy says, I want you to do the opposite. I want you to not be adjacent to any wall. In a situation where I'm worried about it, I will take the time to respect him. In this situation where he's going to die in 2 hits, why should I spend 2 turns running away? So let's finish him off. 1, 2. Perfect. And now we can, on a case-by-case basis, decide when to retreat. I think this is as good a time as any. Oh, wait. Is he summoning? No, he's Shelter from Revenge. That's fine. So we're going to back off to here and just murder hole all of these guys as they come through. Anyone who's dumb enough to get into melee with me dies. Alright, we're doing good. Let's explore some more. Freeze, elect, blah, 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 blah. Alright. Alright. Nice little pocket here. Notice once again our beachhead strategy, right? We always try to uh, slowly but surely increase what is known. And hug what is known over what is unknown. Come to me, Papa. Way over here where there's no chance of being interrupted. Boom. Now you can die. Come to me, Copper. Way over here where there's no chance of being interrupted. That Sphinx is capable of smite attacking. You could make the argument that I should have charged it down instead of retreating that much. I have enough HP that I wasn't worried about being unable to get away, but it's an argument. Okay. Let's go and finish this big fort out because it looks like the one thing that's interesting here. Yeah, it's interesting, all right. Smite targeted electricity attacks, mark, and calls of the whole dungeon at me. Ranged attacks. I don't want to fight any of these guys, so I'm gonna back off, close the door, back off, close the door. Now they're gonna open the door eventually and come at me, but when they do, I'll be ready to duck into this murder hole and murder them from the murder hole. Who's left? Just the Yaktuar, right? The range guy. What just happened? Did we get teleported? No, we didn't get teleported. We finished exploring that and then auto-explored all the way up here. Zounds. Alright, that's no problem. Same basic tactics as always. Cut line of sight. Make a murder hole. Make them come to you. Fight them as few at a time as possible. If it sounds like I'm being boringly broken record, it's because honestly, that's the thing you need in this situation more than anything else. More than all the other intelligent things I could take the time explaining. If you're consistently fighting against the situation where you put your head so deep in that it can't come back out, you're gonna be okay. And the one time where the game forces you to, you'll have blink scrolls and teleport scrolls and butterfly scrolls and fog scrolls left over from the 10 dozen times you didn't put yourself in harm's way. And that's kind of why auto travel doesn't bother me, because I know I can use my consumables to make up for its mistakes on the rare occasions that those mistakes are problematic. We don't want these guys to actually form into one tile, so we're going to go out in the middle of them, keep them from forming up. We can just charge these guys down. They're not that scary. Mark finally happened, but shocker, the whole floor is already dead, so I'm not too worried about it now. In fact, Mark is kind of useful. Why don't you guys all come to me over here, please? where I have a nice little spot to fight you all from 1v1 or 1v2. And there we go. Alright. If I was playing my speed run, I would be holding down tab. Question is, what do you do when you are marked at the start of the vault? Answer, potion of cancellation, drop the mark, or immediately go back upstairs. Remember, the first half of this floor, I was never more than a handful of steps away from the staircases. So if I was afraid of being ganged, which you should often be, I mean, look at me, I just took out a gang of 7. In an advantageous confrontation, I don't have to be afraid. But if you're in a position where you need to be afraid of a gang, then retreating and ducking out is the way to go. Okay, floor cleared. Dive, 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 baby. I don't love this engage. Let's make them come to me. I do think that the heavy broad axe is going to be the best endgame weapon. Actually, smarter people in chat than me. A heavy broad axe, even with maxed out training, it's going to be slower attack speed, but it's going to be higher base damage. Does the amount that the higher base damage helps with high AC endgame enemies make it more valuable than a different enchantment? Or am I better off going with a weapon that has better min delay, like anti-magic, for example, but not as much base damage? Okay, backing off, backing off, trying not to get multi-attack, because see, I can stand my ground and win this fight, but this guy can get me corrosion -4, corrosion -8, and suddenly -8 to hit, plus 0 broad axe with AC 23 is a lot worse for me. Let's just get back to what we love, 1v1 fights. Pull 3, wreck 3. Pull 1, wreck 1. Nice and easy. We'll go the other way this time. Zenata is an actually dangerous unique. She comes with multiple dancing weapons nearby her that usually are well enchanted, hard to hit, and very dangerous. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that her weapons can, if you silence her, she can't cast the ability to make her weapons dance. But good luck getting in range and silencing her before she goes off. Um, in this situation, I have enough time to get away, so I'm just going to get away from her. See, she cast it, and now all her weapons are flying, so we're just going to wait for 500 turns or so that they stop flying, and they'll come back downstairs. Now she's in range of silence, so we're going to silence. She can't use her ability, but I can't use mine either. Probably should have gotten my regeneration online before I fought her. No matter, we'll just go up to her and beat her up. Without her weapons, she's not that scary. Game, why did you freeze? Yeah, without her weapons, she's not that scary. But with her dancing weapons, awful. If I hadn't been by a staircase and I saw those dancing weapons, would be a situation to consider teleporting, to be honest. Because 4 fast-moving +5 weapons, dancing and smacking you the whole way, can absolutely end your run. I was just about to say it's time for us to triple dip, and the game is giving us the second staircase. So we've done exploration around 2 staircases. Let's check the third. Come to me, my pretties. I'm not gonna attack you. You come to me where I can attack you. I'm not gonna charge in. Oh, we got a door lock. How nice. We also got marked. You asked earlier what to do if you get marked early. The answer, I am 3 steps away from a staircase, so right now I am perfectly happy to fight everybody on the entire floor one at a time through this gap. And if that changes, I'm gonna either blink or walk towards that staircase and run away. Yeah. Cloud is saying it what I said as well. If you don't know what a unique is or you don't recognize an enemy, The way that I looked it up like this is by hitting X and V and then inspecting each ability they have. You don't have to take the time to do it on every enemy. You can just lose the game to that enemy and then learn for next time. But if you're trying to win, you're going to have to learn sooner or later. May as well look it up when you first see them. And this absolutely comes into play when you're reaching an area of the game you've never been before, like the spiders or the snake pit or what have you. So we survived being marked and we killed everything that came to us, which speaks well about our overall power level and how decompressed we can expect this whole area of the floor to be. Enemies that were halfway across the map might know where we are and not care to come at us. So I'm not going to presume the whole map is open, but certainly this quarter seems pretty good. Oh, free acquirements. We'll take those. Game, why are you so good to me? +5 crystal plate armor. I lose regen, and I think there's electric only on my armor. I lose will. That's not nice. But it probably helps my AC a ton. You don't even need to ask at this stage of the game. When you get bigger, stronger, heavier armor like this, base armor rating goes up from 31 to 44 by wearing it. You take that deal. And when you get Rampage on a Berserker, you take that deal. Because Rampage turns while Berserked means you can continuously attack people while moving towards them. That isn't something that you can do in general. Also, if I haven't used my enchant armor scrolls at this point, it's unlikely I'm ever going to need them. So we put on the gigantic plate mail. Guardian Spirit became even more useless, but we need the resist electricity off of the amulet or the armor. I think we have it on the gloves. Yeah, Clown said it well. I would do well at this stage to stop the tutorial and start over because there isn't anything to learn now. I mean, there is. I can still use correct tactics, but I'm kind of cheating. This character is strong enough that I could probably dive straight to Zot and win without getting even one more experience point. That's a little exaggerated, but only a little is the sad part. I'm already using a post-endgame weapon with a tower shield, better armor than most characters will find in their entire run. Slay bonuses of 5 without giving slay bonuses of 8 without giving up a ring slot. It's just good stuff. Somehow I have 7 intelligence as a berserker. Like, yeah, we're swimming in goodnesses right now. Um, I do think giving up the will point is fine. Uh, drop that, drop that, drop that. Anything else I need to wear at all? I guess I'm debating putting back acrobat. I think if I retain resist electricity, -2 slayage for an acrobat is more valuable. Yeah, we do that. All right, we're just gonna go ahead and O-tap our way through this floor. Yes, it's a bad tactic, sue me. I need you guys to understand that I am actually getting frustrated by how careful I have to be to prove a point. So let's just not prove a point at this point and just brazenly O-tab this entire floor. Like, legitimately at this point, there's nothing they can do to me. I have 44 AC. I've won games with 2/3 this AC. Oh, what's that? You corroded me to -12? I guess it's gonna take 10 more hits to kill your ass. -12 AC put me at as much AC as I had before I switched armors. Oh, please, summon every enemy on the floor here so that I can kill them all at once. Doesn't matter. By the way, even now when I'm playing terrible on purpose and just kind of rushing through, notice how I instinctively chose a space that minimized the number of enemies that could attack me at once instead of standing out here. Because just tactics, man. Just tactics. I don't use tactics. Tactics use me. Uh yeah, we don't need that. I have 11 mutation potions. At this point I should just drink them for fun. Chug, 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 baby. See if they can give me something that gets me killed. Alright, floor cleared. That's interesting. There's no way to get there? Huh. I wonder how you're supposed to get that. It's just an ID scroll, I don't care that much. Wait, there's a whole lot of stuff that's actually unreachable, huh? Interesting. Disconnected floor. I think I saw all 3 staircases, though. Maybe I missed one. Hang on. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we found all 3 stairs. Hmm. Alright, back to using correct. Oh, by the way, because this floor is new, even though I could get away with what I was just doing probably, innately I am nervous enough that I'm just poking, poking, poking rather than brazenly O-tabbing. We got marked. We actually don't mind being marked here. We're going to run straight back to the stairs so that we can deal with whatever comes. But now we're going to relish that instead of having to tiptoe out to enemies to get them to come to us, they will come to us willingly and we'll beat them up here. This is what can happen with a warden. They can lock the stairs that you were hoping to retreat to. He is now my priority target just to get my safety back. The mark has expired, so whatever enemies we've attracted, that's what's coming. And look just how many enemies are willing to come and be our training practice, target practice. You guys really are breaking down the doors to meet the minotaur of your dreams, huh? Or your nightmares. Good lord, there's a lot of them though, aren't there? Back up, I guess. I don't want to charge in against rangers. By the way, all of this is unberserked. And that's on purpose. I'm saying don't berserk this because you don't know how long that fight's gonna go on. If you can't plan for the end of the fight, then don't start it with berserk. Don't berserk through it. Okay. That I would describe as a very good beachhead. Let's go to the next one. By the way, it's easy to get sucked into thinking, oh, you win this run because you got crystal plate mail or because you have a tower shield. But the truth is, we would have been dead many times over before we got any of that stuff with bad tactics. Tactics are what allowed us to survive when we had no consumables. Tactics are what allowed us to survive when we didn't have adequate resistances. Tactics are what lets you get ahead in this game. Strategy is what puts you in a position to save. Sorry, strategy is what puts you in a position to do tasks that you can win tactically. Tactics is what puts you in a position to have resources left over for later so that you can continue to do well. By the way, we're just going to throw 5 points into evocations while we're at it so that we kind of empower our invocables. At this stage, it's more meaningful than anything else we're doing. We're going to win this fight by berserking him. Wait, I should prove a point. Better to examine him first, see what he can do, and then decide if you can take him on. For example, I would have realized he can blink, and that berserking was a terrible plan. But I resist poison, so Mephitic Cloud is not going to affect me. This layout sucks. Let's go to the other staircase, actually. The one that's, the top corner. That one, I think. No, my god, how did I get it wrong every time? Thank you. No, not that one. That one. If only enemies were smart enough to realize certain death when they saw it and just not attack me, that'd be great. Alright, we are now on the narrow path all the way to the end. Always trying to minimize the number of enemies we attack at once. For the sake of getting to Vaults 5 and doing the next teaching, I'm going to rush through Vaults 4 a little. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. We want to get out of here ASAP. We are beating up the thing that lets me get out. If I have to, I'll use fear to get out. Oh, never mind. He came up to me. I can just melee him. That ice attack is, I think, partially irresistible. I'm not certain, but you don't want to find out. So, yeah. Uh, if there's any situation where I turn into a tree, the situation has gone pear-shaped beyond belief. Easy takedowns. Easy takedowns. We have how much money? Way too much money? Okay, so let's go check out the store out and see what's available. Nothing we care about. Okay, 2 more vault floors and we're done. International Caravan. I do not want to use my only scroll of revelation to find it. I need a scroll of revelation for my Vaults 5, so we're going to hang on to that. But we are going to try to find the caravan. So paying attention to how close we are messages. We finally found a potion of Berserk Rage. Well, we'd definitely hang on to that, just in case we're put in a position where we have no other means of becoming enraged. He's summoning enemies. I actually welcome that. I want to fight the enemies here next to the staircase, not there where I have no access to safety. He's also summoning. Perfect. Please bring them all here. 3v1 is not too many, otherwise I would back off and make it 1v1. Alright, we're still trying to find the bazaar. Truly, there is nothing we need. A stately tolling of a distant bell. So we've got a ways to go. Always the 1v1 as much as possible. Try not to get flanked. So it is, but I only have one. And I'd rather save it for Volts 5. But yes, that's mapping here would be very good if I could use it. There's also a rather high chance of finding another Revelation scroll uh, by getting into the bazaar. But there it is. We found it. All right. I'm gonna drop some of my stuff so that I have space to bring back stuff with. We'll just drop the wands, I guess, so it's easy to remember what to bring. And let's go and look at the shops. Curing and haste, always fun. Don't need spells. Holy makes no sense in any run except this one. Uh, that's an AC plus Slayage ring. The only resistance I don't have is corrosion yet, and that's a ring that just screams, we want you to take us. Um, I mean, considering I'm wearing a AC plus ring right now, so it's just strictly better. Always grab the blink scroll. Blink scrolls are just that good. Nothing of value. All right, so here we are. Yeah, we'll go back to your jewelry store and we'll buy a bunch of good stuff from everyone. Thank you. Not the jewelry store. Jewelry store. We'll take corrosion with slay plus 6 and missing necro resist, please. And now our our resistances are psycho. We're probably gonna go ahead and get that resist corrosion ring just so that I can actually brag about having every resistance the game has to offer at some point. We no longer use basic enchantable armors, and we're not a dwarf, so you can keep all the enchant armor scrolls you like. +4 broad heavy axe. That beats the +3 that we carry with us. Y'all don't scare us, but if your herd could come at me one at a time, that would make my life even easier. To just literally hold down tab through all of you. Auto explore and finish them off. This is a good chance to funnel them again, so please come as a funnel. I'm still giving ground for the sake of trying to make them come to me. Over and over and over. I want them to keep coming to me. One at a time, one at a time, one at a time. That's the way to go. Alright, we're just about done with this floor at this point. There's not going to be a large cache of enemies that we still have to deal with, so let's get on with the business of Volts 5 so that we can be done with today's instructional any minute. Don't care about good play. We're just gonna win. Oh my god, seriously. Okay, so resist electricity. I think I only have it left on my gloves, which sucks because I'm leaving 2 AC on the floor by not using those. Um, I could wear a ring of resist electricity or an amulet of resist electricity. Well, I guess the amulet just got a second lease on life then. So we're gonna ditch the gloves of resist electricity with a modicum of dex and pick up strength +6 with 2 extra AC on it for just straight up more power. Uh, yeah, we'll turn back axes so that we're getting more and more power at this stage, but it's kind of becoming clear that this game is broken. Broken build, yeah, I'll say. Only for the 3 rune game, by the way. Like none of this is gonna play out when I start getting triple tormented and orbs of destruction. You can still die to just a handful of orb of destructions in this build, but I can do stuff like this now, which is really nice. 64 base damage, Christ. Okay, Volts 5. First things first. You could make the argument for taking a random staircase that puts you in a random place downstairs and then work your way out from there. But with the build, second thing is second. You don't have to do it now. You only need 3 runes to enter Zot. So usually the correct answer is go get stronger and come back after the easiest EXP when it's the easiest. So we have the whole depths to clear yet. Why on earth would we do Volts 5 here? But usually I'm not this strong already. So really I should just go for it. I am going to take a quick detour to go and grab a resist corrosion ring because it is technically a resistance I lack and I would like to have. Nope. We'll get that ring, please. And we'll lose the unnecessary stuffs now that I have a better source of resist corrosion. Okay, good. And go back to Volts 4. Okay. If you're going in, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to be surrounded. And the second thing that's going to happen is you're going to be constantly dealing with an ongoing pitched battle. Pick the staircase closest to an up staircase, or that's most surrounded by walls. In this situation, they're all 888, so there's no superior option. So we'll go here. You could pre-quaff haste and pre-cast magic regen and all that. Generally speaking, I would say you should. And since I'm trying to teach, okay, so here it is. Resist first, haste second. In we go. This is the initial greeting party. There are all kinds of tricks and tracks and FAQs for how you can deal with this group. Frankly, if you're playing a strong enough Minotaur, you don't need to think about those things. And if you're not playing a strong enough Minotaur, I recommend going and clearing depths first. Read Revelation and decide which of these four gives you the best kill hole? I would say this top right and almost equally good as the bottom left. Now we're going to spend our energy getting into our kill hole. If you are a weaker race and you don't think you can do it, use a blink scroll and blink right into it. But if you're strong enough, you can just walk into it. And that's probably what we're going to do. Um, of note, uh, the reason we're doing this is this warden can lock the stairs when we're planning to retreat up the stairs. That dragon that you can't see back there can cast cancellation, which knocks all your abilities off. That tentacled monstrosity over here, yeah, he can grab you when you come back downstairs, and now you can't escape and you're constricted. Going up and down the stairs with sets of 8 enemies sounds like a really nice, safe tactic, and wins about enough off percent of the time that you think it is good. But in reality, you're just waiting to get screwed over on your exit, and then you're in trouble. Instead, we're going to stick to the same basic tactics we've been pounding and pounding in all game. Try to limit fights to 1v1s and 2v1s, just like we're doing here. And notice that I would actually be better served to retreat a little bit so that I have a easier hiding spot right behind me. We're going to keep that regen and will resist on at full times. We're going to cast an ally of Trog if I ever feel like I need more DPS. Unlikely when I have a build with this much slayage, but certainly possible on another build that they need just a little bit more oomph. That's what an ally of Trog or a brother in arms is for. Keep the regen on full time, please. Now you'll notice that I'm fighting 3 and 4v1. So, what are we going to do? We're going to take a moment to reposition and keep the fight as a 1v1 as much as possible. Anytime now I can take a turn to break line of sight and keep the corridor narrow. So if I see a smiter or a dangerous ice blaster, that's what I'm going to do. Keep it 1v1, just keep slowly giving ground, slowly giving ground. All of these enemies are the enemies that were here, 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 and here, and some of the enemies from here, 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 and some of the enemies from here and here. This is a long slog, and if we berserk, we will run out of berserk before they run out of bodies. These guys have reach weapons, so I had to give ground so they would still keep coming to me. Gonna push my way back into what was actually a very nice kill hole. Usually, almost always, one of these four will give you a beautiful kill hole. If we had gone this way, we would have used the haste walk to get to here or here, right? Turn that corner and give ground through here. Absolutely. Oh, Lottie, thank you for bringing it up. This is the time to use consumables. This is the most dangerous place in the game that isn't Zot 5, in my opinion. If you need to get pop a little bit more resistance because you only have 1 pip of fire and cold and you're getting lightninged, pop a resistance potion. If you need to use haste, use haste. If you need to use heal wounds, heal wounds. If you get enchanted with a bad enchantment, cancel that off. If you need to go invisible because a lot of the enemies here don't see invisible, do it. Might, do it. Anything you need to get the edge you need to win. My usual barometer is that when my health is down 40, 50 points, so I'm like at 150-ish or something, I immediately start thinking in terms of what are my outs, what are my assets, how weak am I really, what will it take to win? Sometimes the answer is as simple as just start regenerating, you'll be fine in no time. Other times the answer is more, this looks really bad. I don't know how I'm getting out of this. And that's when you need to start getting clever. We're going to carry this whip with us if at all possible because an evocable blink has all kinds of use in this game. Our odds of blinking, if we were to wield the whip, is 12%. That's not terrible. In a pinch, we can whip out our whip and blink. In practice, that will never happen. In any situation where I'm trying to blink that badly, I will just use the blink. Oh, question. What would happen if you came across an Vampiric Axe and that combined with Trog's Hand? Honestly, not much would happen if I did that. I'm regenerating plenty, and Vamp only regenerates on kill. So, really, by the time they're dead, they're a lot less scary. Um, I used to think Vamp was my favorite brand of all. Now I've kind of started to realize it tends to not help me as much. My God, look at the number of bodies I'm just walking over from this running battle that we fought. And honestly, all of these guys would have been 10 billion times scarier if there was 6v1ing me while I ran down a hallway. Making the decision not to stand my ground on these stairs, but immediately come into a kill hole laden hallway is what rendered this fight doable. Question. Wait, how are you evoking Blink? Excellent question. I saw it on this whip, so I kept the whip purely as a blink weapon. If I'm in a situation where I need blinking, I wield the whip, blink, wield my weapon. Note that Evocations is trained to 5, which is what made it virtually uncastable versus just 11%. It would actually be prudent. Yes, but not many. Let's count. 48046.8, right? If I take a swing, 48047.5. So that was zero point 0.7 turns. Okay, now let's try instead wielding a new weapon. Half a turn, blink takes a full turn, half a turn to go back. So 2 turns to execute a blink is very reasonable, especially because I'm not going to be doing this willy-nilly. I'm going to be doing this when I'm in a situation that I can't get out another way. Of course, the real answer is why didn't you use the 7 scrolls of blinking you already had? And the answer to that is, well, I was trying to save resources. I should have just used the scroll. You know that one ring of resist corrosion I bought just in case I needed it? The game was like, nah, 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 bro. We can't have you using a nice ring. We're gonna give you an artifact that improves your evasion by 5 and doubles your will. You know, 'cause that's what good friends do. I don't carry the evocable whip because it's my primary choice for how to blink. I carry it because it is an answer. And if the question is asked, how are you going to get out of this silence? How are you going to get out of this jam? I want more answers in my inventory, especially when the price of carrying it is free. For the same reason that I carried this dagger for the majority of the game because I didn't. Oh, not this dagger. This dagger because I didn't know when I would be in a situation that I was running from a corrosive enemy, and that was the one way I had to resist it. Think like getting a Bist or something, and now it's not about what you can win; it's about what you can tank. Even after all that decompression, this chamber is still not done. But that's normal. We did the big start decompression. Now let's get to the outside and kind of start doing the end decompression. But we've more or less already gotten the vault uh rune here. It would be exceedingly unlikely for them to win. Immediately, the moment I saw real enemies, I started using my beachhead. I started retreating to my known space. I start using my kill holes. I do not take fights any harder than they have to be. Even now, when I have the whole game ahead of me, oh, sorry, when I have the whole. Oh, we're getting petrified, aren't we? Let's get an ally up. You guys can go ahead and beat up my stone corpse, but you have to do it with my freaking guardian angel here. He just killed every enemy on that whole line. That was a bad auto travel, unfortunately. Let's go back. Don't need to deal with you though. All right, let's finish what we were exploring. We see enemies, so we make them come to us. Always the same basic tactic. You see an enemy, your instinct shouldn't be to attack it, your instinct should be to run away and make it chase you into your happy spot, not the other way around. Does not save turns, but absolutely saves lives. All right, what's in here? Oh, nice quick blade. I don't think I'm really a quick blade kind of guy, but hey, look at that. Rune! we do not need Wands of Flame anymore. We are well past our eel cooking days. Thank you very much. It's funny how that plays out, by the way. That things that were absolutely clutch early on become completely pointless later on. If ever you wanted to listen and use your consumables instead of hoarding them, that's it right there. That stuff that used to be so valuable that you were hoarding it for a good chance to use it, now it's just obsolete enough that you're ditching it. I'll never lignify again this game. I guarantee it. Uh, Now I'm just O-tabbing in the interest of full exploration. I mean, for God's sake, they've killed half the floor. I can afford to be a little. I don't understand. I've played so many games and not had this much good stuff. Flying is not that valuable anymore now that we've killed the branch that cares about it. So we're very happy to ditch one AC point to have resist corrosion on permanently. The fact that it also gives resist electricity means that I can switch amulets back and go back to acrobat theoretically if I want to. I'm almost afraid to say, we haven't found a really good amulet yet, as if asking the game, can you give me a good amulet? The game's given me too much as it is. OP seed. Like here, you guys know my tactics. Back off, right? Well, watch what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna hold tab. Just gonna hold tab. See, they're all dead. I mean, the correct tactic is obviously still to back off, but I'm just very far ahead of the power curve right now. If there's a next time I do this video, I'll probably pick a weaker race. I might not be able to illustrate quite as well, but at least y'all will have the joy with me of seeing my good decision making prevent me from losing when risk was of losing was on the table. All right, vaults cleared. Back to the dungeon, and more specifically, off to the depths for next time. Uh, So I'm seeing suggestions for what to play next, Nullcaster, Brigand, etc. I'm gonna be straight with you guys. The next big video I would say is starting a simple caster, and I'll play a gargoyle because again, as a beginner, I want to pick something that lets you minimize how many systems you have to interact with to get into it. And I think that gargoyle does the best job of that for beginners because it gives you your poison resistance and your electricity resistance and lets you just and gives you decent magical aptitude so you can just start playing a mage right out the box without disabling systems. Knoll is my favorite race. I've won so many Knolls, but uh, Knolls don't necessarily teach you to manage your skilling, and I think as a wizard or as a mage, learning to skill is part and parcel of the game. You can't say you're playing a mage if you're not doing that. Question: Is Gargoyle not that good for Berserker? It's a great question. I assumed it would be. I really did. But somehow, whenever I play it, it just doesn't feel that way. There's no reason you can't. You can look at the aptitudes and say that Gargoyle Berserker should be just fine. But here, let's do this. Bounty Hunter SAX or Bounty Alt or that's it. Grr. It looks like I have only ever won a Gargoyle Hedge Wizard twice and a Venom Mage once. It does not look like I've ascended a Gargoyle Berserker. Ever. Um, that doesn't mean they can't win with Berserker. Here, let's do the other query. Ready? One bounty hunter SAX slash bounty alt dash dash Berserker. I've won with pretty much any kind of melee Berserker you like. That's fine. You can win with a demon spawn berserker. That's fine. But in terms of natural synergy, right? The, the gargoyle doesn't, the berserker doesn't need synergy. That's what I'm trying to say. You don't need help to be a berserker. Trog gives you everything: health, attack steroid, high regen with will resistance, summons with brutal damage up front, right? And a gift of a weapon. No need to train invocations. No need to train spellcasting, conjurations, hexes, summoning, necromancy, translocation, alchemy, fire, ice magic, earth magic, invocations, or shapeshifting, frankly. You don't need any of that. You only need to pick one out of all of these to make it your weapon of choice, right? And then you have 3 or 4 skills that can help you, but frankly, if you never get them above 16, it's no big deal. So, being a berserker is its own path to glory. In fact, I'm kind of tempted to just leverage that point and make a point of it and play shitty race berserker. Not deep elf berserker, that's a little too much, but oh, there, Kobe, a kobold berserker, right? Kobold berserker was popular for a while. There's no reason not to be a kobold berserker, and that's fine. Magery, on the other hand, is a pain. Right out the gate as a mage, you need to have spellcasting, core spell school, and elemental school. It is very rare to find a good spell that doesn't require 3. There are some. Summoning line and ice line in particular can sometimes go pretty far alone. Poison used to be decent, but then very quickly you need that second and third spell, right? Um, the Clown. That's correct. Clown's pointing out Kobold was popular for that back when you used to have to pay food in order to berserk. Anyway, Majory. You then also do need some weapon skill and some fighting because you're never going to have enough mana to just straight up win by spells alone at first. Then you also find that you need to survive, so you need all the same defense skills. Eventually, you pick a deity, and some, if not all of them, like you to have a little invocations to go with it, depending on what route you're taking. And then, and this is the key, what resists Axe Wound to the face in this game? Nothing. Nothing resists Axe Wound to the face. What resists Fire Blast? Well, there's this resists fire enemy, and that resists fire enemy, and this enemy that's elementally immune. Okay, well, what resists Isekunderin's Mystic Blast? Well, technically nothing, but these high AC enemies basically take a lot less damage from it. Okay, what resists Shock? Ooh, Shock is really good early game. Most enemies are vulnerable to it. There's only a handful that resist electricity, but of course they can't dodge it. It can just miss. Well, what happens if you fire 3 shots? Well, then you run out of mana. Playing a mage is so much slower and weaker at the start that you actually need the help. So that's why picking a race like Gargoyle and saying, can it work as a berserker? My answer is, yeah, sure it can. Anything can work as a berserker. But it's interesting that it works as a mage. And so if I'm going to do a how to get started with magic run, a tutorial mage run, it'll be as a Gargoyle probably, just because I find them to be a very nice, easy on-ramp. And with less downsides. Null is fantastic, but it fails to teach the important lesson of balancing your spells. Jin for the same reason. Ogres are very good for a skilled player, but not great for a beginner. Ogre would be my way of teaching you to use optimal tactics because you have to. Because ogres get these massive health pools, and then they have so much vulnerability that they lose all their health in the wink of an eye. All right, that is roughly the limit of my time for today. Thank you all for coming out. I really do appreciate the ongoing enthusiasm and interest you all have shown in the series, and your questions are excellent. At some point, if I have time, I'm gonna have to listen to my own tutorial video, go back and like catalog all these questions and put them out to like an FAQ or something. This is good stuff. And I really do hope you all are able to ascend characters who haven't before, because honestly, you're doing great. And this is not rocket science, it's just crawl. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time.